Imagine this. You're boarding your dream cruise, thinking you scored the perfect cabin. But right down the hall, another passenger just got the same room plus balcony perks, priority dining, and spa credits, all for free. Yep, cruise lines secretly hand out hidden cabin upgrades to travelers who know exactly how to ask. But the real kicker? Most people have no clue these upgrades even exist. Today, we re-diving deep into 12 insider cabin upgrades the cruise industry doesn't advertise, but you can claim. And trust me, secret number 7 shocks even the most loyal Royal Caribbean cruisers. The obscure inventory upgrade. Here, a secret most cruisers never hear. Cruise lines quietly hold back premium cabins, and then, just before sailing, they release them to travelers who know exactly when to ask. You won't see these rooms online. They don't show up on booking sites, but they do exist, tucked deep in the cruise line's reservation system as inventory adjustments. Let me paint the picture. A traveler booked an inside cabin on the MSC Seaside. 2 days before embarkation, she called the line, casually asked if any inventory had opened up, and was upgraded to an ocean view balcony for free. Same sailing, same ship, just smarter timing. Most passengers think once a sailing is sold out, that's it. But the truth is, cabins get freed constantly, from cancellations, group holds, or crew reassignments. And cruise lines would rather fill them quietly than let them sail empty. Why this matters? You could be steps away from a better view, more space, and even balcony breakfasts without paying a dime more. But only if you ask at the right time. Here's what smart travelers do instead. Call the cruise line or your travel agent exactly 48 hours before boarding and ask, has any new cabin inventory opened up due to adjustments? Use that phrase, inventory adjustment. It's insider language that tells staff you know how upgrades work. Do this once, and you'll never board wondering what hidden cabins just slipped through your fingers. The bid to upgrade loophole. Here's one of the cruise industry's sneakiest little secrets. You can actually bid your way into luxury cabins without anyone else on board knowing. Cruise lines quietly run internal upgrade auctions where passengers can name their price for a better room, but only certain travelers ever see the invite. It's called the bid to upgrade system, and it's hiding in plain sight under names like Royal Up, Royal Caribbean, Move Up, Celebrity, or Upgrade Plus, MSC. Here's how it works. A traveler on Carnival Panorama booked a basic inside cabin. A few weeks before sailing, she got an email, won a bid for a balcony. She entered $90, and 72 hours later, she was sipping coffee on her private balcony. That cabin normally cost $700 more. Most cruisers never even check their online portal after booking, so they miss the opportunity completely. Cruise lines send these invites selectively, usually to people who book direct, paid in full, and have flexible categories. Why it matters. Bidding lets you experience balcony, suite, or spa-level perks for pennies on the dollar. It's like first-class flying, but on the ocean. But here's the catch. Bid too low, and nothing happens. Bid too high, and you overpay. So do this instead. Log into your cruise account every week before you're sailing. Look for Upgrade Offer, or Royal Up. When it appears, bid modestly, around 20 to 30% below the normal price difference. That sweet spot wins more often than you'd think, and gets you bragging rights every time you set foot on deck. The loyalty level leap. Here's a little-known secret that even veteran cruisers overlook. Your loyalty status can unlock cabin upgrades you didn't technically earn yet. Sounds crazy, right? But here's the deal. When ships have open premium cabins, cruise lines sometimes bump frequent guests up a tier temporarily, just to fill those rooms and keep loyal passengers smiling. Take Norwegian Cruise Line, for example. A platinum tier guest boarded a nearly full sailing, but a few suites sat empty. At check-in, her key card was quietly reissued with a new code. She'd been moved to a mini-suite with concierge breakfast access, free of charge. Why? Because NCL, Royal Caribbean, and Princess all have internal priority assignment lists for loyalty guests. When cabins open, those higher on the list get upgraded first, even if it's unofficial. Most travelers think loyalty is all about points, but in practice, it's also about availability leverage. Cruise lines would rather fill a luxury cabin with a happy repeat guest than let it go unused. Here's why this matters for you. If you cruised on multiple lines, say, Carnival, and Royal Caribbean, you might qualify for reciprocal recognition. That means one line honors your status from another, sometimes bumping you up a level for that sailing only. So here's your pro move. Call guest services before boarding and ask if they offer reciprocal loyalty benefits. Mention your highest tier status anywhere else. It signals to the rep that you a valued cruiser across fleets and might just land you a surprise upgrade. The obstructed view trick. Here is a smart move almost nobody talks about. You can score an ocean view cabin for interior pricing, if you know which ones to target. Cruise lines sell some cabins as obstructed view, meaning a lifeboat or piece of equipment partially blocks the window. Most travelers see that warning and scroll right past. But the secret? Many of these obstructions barely block anything. Take Royal Caribbean's Oasis-class ships. A few cabins labeled obstructed ocean view are actually positioned between lifeboats, giving you a perfectly clear view of the sea. The only obstruction might be a railing or a small part of the tender equipment. One couple booked an obstructed view cabin on the Harmony of the Seas, expecting disappointment. Instead, they opened their curtains to a wide blue horizon for half the cost of the identical room next door. Why it matters? Cruise lines label entire sections under one code, so the few great cabins get lumped in with the bad ones. Meaning, you can pay less for the same experience. But here's the kicker. The best obstructed view deals vanish fast because seasoned cruisers know the cabin numbers by heart. So here's what you do instead. Before booking, research the exact cabin number on YouTube or Cruise Critic. Search for obstructed view, ship name, cabin tour. You'll see firsthand what the view actually looks like. If it's a good one, book it immediately. It's one of the few true cruise hacks that feels like stealing, because you literally getting the view everyone else paid extra for. The Guarantee Cabin Shuffle. This next upgrade secret is a total gamble, but when it pays off, it's pure cruise magic. It's called the Guarantee Cabin Shuffle. Here's how it works. Instead of choosing a specific stateroom, you book a guarantee cabin. That means you guaranteed a cabin in the category you paid for, but the cruise line decides exactly which one you get. Most travelers hate that lack of control. But here's the catch. When certain cabin categories don't sell out evenly, cruise lines quietly bump guarantee guests into higher categories to balance inventory. Real example, a Carnival cruiser booked a guarantee inside cabin for $599. 1 week before sailing, she got her assignment and nearly fell off her chair. Why it happens? It's cheaper for cruise lines to move guests up than to leave premium rooms empty. That's right. Sometimes your upgrade comes simply because the math worked in your favor. Why it matters? Booking Guarantee gives you flexibility that the algorithm rewards. Cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, MSC, and Princess all use dynamic inventory systems that shuffle guests automatically before final manifests close. Here's the move. Use the guarantee cabin strategy only on shoulder season or less than full sailings, like early December or late January. And always book the lowest guarantee category that still fits your comfort level. If the sailing isn't sold out, you're in the running for a free upgrade. And when it hits, it's one of the best win without trying moments you ever experience at sea. The accessible cabin windfall. Now here's one upgrade secret that very few people talk about, and for good reason. It's sensitive, but completely legitimate if handled the right way. Cruise ships reserve a small number of ADA accessible cabins for guests with mobility needs. These rooms are usually larger, more open, and often located near elevators or midship, prime real estate on any vessel. Here's the insider truth. If those accessible cabins go unused close to departure, cruise lines quietly reassign them to standard guests so the rooms don't sit empty. Example, on the MSC Meraviglia, a solo traveler checked in for her inside cabin, but was told she'd been upgraded for comfort. She walked into a spacious stateroom with wider doors, an oversized bathroom, and midship stability. She hadn't requested it. It was simply available. Why it matters? These cabins are designed for accessibility, but provide exceptional comfort for anyone. More square footage, better location, and fewer hallway disturbances. But you can't ask for them directly unless you qualify. That's the rule. So here's the right way to play it smart. Check your cruise app or boarding documents a few days before sailing. If your cabin number changes suddenly, look it up. You might have just landed a silent ADA upgrade. And if it happens at the pier, accept graciously. Never request it outright, but if the line offers it during reassignment, it's 100% fair game. Sometimes, the best upgrades are the ones you didn't even ask for. The quiet upgrade from guest services. Here's a secret few cruisers believe until it happens to them. Sometimes, the fastest way to a better cabin isn't booking smarter, it's speaking up. Cruise lines quietly issue what insiders call a comfort upgrade. It's not advertised, not promised, and definitely not automatic. But if you handle it the right way, it can turn a noisy or inconvenient room into a serious upgrade. Picture this. A guest on Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas complained politely that her cabin was near a busy crew corridor. She wasn't rude, just calm and clear about the late-night noise. Guest services checked availability, and within an hour, she was moved to a midship balcony cabin worth several $100s more. No negotiation, no argument, just the right words and timing. Why this matters? Cruise lines would much rather move you quietly than risk a bad review or refund. Their goal is guest satisfaction, especially on premium or newer ships where reputation is everything. Here's what most passengers miss. They complain to the wrong person or use the wrong tone. Anger gets you ignored. Politeness, paired with the right language, gets you results. So here's what to do. Visit guest services early, ideally before sail away. Calmly explain your concern and use the phrase comfort issue. That's the key trigger. Say it once, smile, and let them work their magic. Because sometimes, the best upgrades aren't won, they're offered, quietly, behind the scenes, to passengers who know how to ask. The back-to-back cabin boost. If you've ever dreamed of staying on the ship when everyone else disembarks, this next upgrade is tailor-made for you. It's called the back-to-back cabin boost, and it's one of the easiest ways to get upgraded without even asking for it. Here's what happens behind the scenes. When guests book consecutive cruises, known as back-to-back sailings, cruise lines do everything possible to keep them happy and avoid room shuffles. Why? Because moving passengers mid-turnaround day wastes time for housekeeping and check-in crews. On a recent Norwegian cruise line sailing, a couple booked 2 back-to-back Caribbean cruises. Their original ocean view cabin was needed for new guests on the second leg, so guest services quietly moved them to a mini-suite with a balcony, just so they wouldn't have to pack and move. No charge, no request, just convenience turned into luxury. Why it matters? Cruise lines love repeat business, and back-to-back travelers spend more on board. That puts you on their high-value list, which often comes with silent perks like free laundry, faster boarding, and yes, surprise cabin upgrades. Here's the insider move. When you book back-to-back cruises, call or email the line ahead of time and request the same cabin number for both sailings. If that cabin's taken, ask if they can offer a consolidated upgrade. That phrase signals you know the logistics game, and the rep will often check for a better cabin that's open for both trips. 2 cruises, 1 room, and a much better view. That's how smart travelers double their fun and their square footage. The cabin category collapse. This next secret sounds confusing, but it's pure cruise gold once you understand it. It's called the cabin category collapse, and it happens more often than you'd think. Cruise lines divide cabins into categories: balcony, suite, spa balcony, and so on. But here's the twist. When certain categories don't sell evenly, the system quietly merges or collapses them into higher classes before the final sailing manifest closes. Translation? You can book a cheaper room and still end up in a premium category. Here is a real example. A travel agent noticed on a Celebrity Cruises sailing that several standard balcony rooms were suddenly renamed concierge class. Those passengers didn't pay extra. The line just folded the unsold premium category into the lower one to fill space. Why it matters? These category collapses usually happen in the final 10 to 14 days before sailing. It's a behind-the-scenes inventory fix that results in a free upgrade for you. Most travelers never notice because they don't check their cabin category after booking. The cruise line won't announce it. Your confirmation just quietly updates online. Here's the move. Check your online reservation a week before departure. If your cabin label changes, say from Balcony B2 to Spa Balcony or Concierge Class, congratulations, you've just scored an invisible upgrade. And if you spot new category names on the booking site that didn't exist before, call immediately. Ask if your category was adjusted. That one call can turn your ordinary balcony into a spa-level sanctuary. No bidding, no begging, just timing and awareness. The travel agent upgrade chain. Now, this next secret separates the casual cruisers from the pros. It's called the travel agent upgrade chain, and it's one of those insider systems that never gets advertised, but quietly delivers the biggest upgrades of all. Here's the truth. Travel agencies, especially high-volume or group specialist ones, receive exclusive cabin blocks from cruise lines. These are private pools of staterooms not visible on public booking sites. When those rooms don't sell, agencies can reassign or upgrade their clients, often for free. Real story. A Carnival insider once revealed that select agencies had category bump privileges. One traveler booked through a partner agency, expecting a basic interior room. Days before sailing, she got an email. Your cabin has been upgraded. Compliments of Carnival and your travel advisor. She ended up in an ocean view worth hundreds more. No bidding, no luck, just connection. Why it matters. These agency-held upgrades are invisible to direct bookers. If you book through the cruise line website, you'll never touch them. But a seasoned cruise travel agent has back-end access to promos, group rates, and free upgrade blocks that open randomly throughout the year. Here's your move. Always ask your agent one simple question. Do you have access to blocked upgrade inventory or group space promos? That single phrase tells them you're not a rookie. It often unlocks better rooms, onboard credits, or even suite-level perks at no added cost. The best part? Once you're in that agency's upgrade chain, you stay on their internal priority list, meaning your next booking might start with a surprise upgrade email waiting in your inbox. The special occasion flag. Here's a little-known secret most cruisers miss. Your birthday, anniversary, or honeymoon can literally move you up the cabin list. It's called the special occasion flag, and it's one of the few upgrade triggers that's entirely emotional, not logistical. Cruise lines keep a handful of premium cabins unassigned until just before sailing. They use those for operational reasons and for goodwill gestures. Guests flagged as celebrating something special are often first in line. Example: a couple on Princess Cruises celebrating their 25th anniversary booked a standard ocean view. 2 days before sailing, they received a surprise email. They'd been moved to a balcony cabin. As a gesture, they didn't pay a cent more. Why this matters? Cruise lines love stories. Special occasions make great PR and guarantee happier passengers who spend more on board. But here's the catch. Most people mention it once during booking and assume it's noted everywhere. It's not. That's where savvy travelers win. Here's what you do. Mention your celebration multiple times. Add it to your online booking, call the line directly, and tell your travel agent. Then, and this is key, remind guest services at embarkation. You not being pushy, you just making sure the flag stays visible in the system. When a few balcony or suite cabins open last minute, the staff looks for passengers with celebration tags. And if your name's on that list, your happy anniversary could suddenly come with a private balcony and complimentary champagne. Sometimes, the sweetest upgrades come from just celebrating the moment. The early check-in advantage. Here's a sneaky little secret that loyal cruisers swear by, and it's one of the few upgrades you can trigger just by showing up early. It's called the early check-in advantage. And yes, timing alone can get you a better cabin. Here's how it works. On embarkation day, the cruise line's check-in systems refresh several times as last-minute cancellations and no-shows get processed. Those newly freed cabins, they don't sit empty. They reassign to guests who are already there and ready to board. Example: a Carnival guest arrived at the Miami terminal 2 hours before her boarding time. As check-in opened, the system refreshed, and a handful of balcony cabins became available. The agent looked up, smiled, and said, "Would you like a complimentary upgrade?" She went from an interior to an ocean view in minutes. Why this matters? Most cruisers stick to their printed boarding time, assuming it's fixed. But being early often means you standing at the front of the line when those premium cabins suddenly pop open. Here's the move. Arrive early, neatly dressed, and politely ask, "Are there any cabin availability updates today?" That specific phrase signals to the check-in team that you understand the process, without sounding demanding. And here's the catch. It doesn't always work. But when it does, it's instant magic. No phone calls, no fees, no begging. Just being early, polite, and in the right place at the right moment. Because sometimes, the best upgrades don't come from luck. They come from perfect timing. The portside secret. Here's a secret most cruisers never even think about. The side of the ship you re-on can decide whether you get an upgrade or not. It's called the portside secret, and it quietly affects cabin pricing and reassignments every single season. Here's the deal. On certain itineraries, especially scenic routes like the Mediterranean, Alaska, or the Norwegian fjords, one side of the ship has the premium view. Cruise lines know it, and so do the repeat cruisers. Now, when mid-season reclassifications happen, meaning cruise lines rename or reprioritize cabin sides to reflect premium views, they often reassign passengers to balance out bookings. And when that happens, early bookers on the non-premium side can get upgraded automatically to the better one. Example, Royal Caribbean's Mediterranean sailings often favor the port side, facing the coastline for most of the journey. Guests originally booked on starboard sometimes get quietly shifted into equivalent or better portside cabins when the ship reclassifies its layout. Why it matters? Cabin location equals experience. You could be staring at the open ocean or watching the Italian Riviera glide by, all depending on which side you re-on. Here's your move. Before booking, research your ship's route. Search best side for ship name, itinerary. Once you know which side has the views, call or message the cruise line and ask if premium view cabins are being reclassified. If they are, you've just positioned yourself for one of the easiest upgrades in cruising. No bidding, no waiting, just smart planning and geography on your side. The cruise rebooking loophole. Now, this next upgrade trick isn't about luck. It's about watching the system closer than the cruise line expects. It's called the cruise rebooking loophole, and it's one of the most powerful ways to move into a higher cabin without paying a cent more. Here's the truth. Cruise fares change constantly, sometimes daily, based on demand and promotions. What most passengers don't realize is that if the price of your exact cruise drops before your final payment date, you can rebook into a higher category for the same money. Example, a traveler on the Celebrity Edge booked a veranda stateroom at $1,400. 2 months later, the same cruise dropped by $150. Instead of asking for a refund, her travel agent rebooked her into a concierge-class cabin. Same total price, better perks, free room service breakfast, and priority boarding. Why this matters? Cruise lines rarely promote this policy, but most will honor it if you or your agent spot the price change. It's built into their price protection system, but only applies before final payment. After that, the door closes. Here's your move. Set up fare alerts through sites like Cruise Watch, or check the cruise line site every week until your balance is due. If you see a price drop, call immediately and ask to reprice into a higher category. That one phrase can turn a standard cabin into a premium room, all because you were watching when the cruise line wasn't. Smart cruisers don't pay more, they just time it better. The VIP do not advertise list. This last one sounds like a myth, but ask anyone who's cruised often enough, and they'll tell you it's very real. It's called the VIP do not advertise list, and it's one of the cruise industry's best kept secrets. Here's the truth. Cruise lines track guest profiles, not just for loyalty points, but for behavior, feedback, and even online presence. Guests who consistently engage positively with the brand, or, interestingly, who had valid past complaints handled well, sometimes get quietly flagged in the system as high service priority. What does that mean? It means you might receive unannounced perks, faster boarding, surprise gifts, or even silent suite upgrades, all without a single email or notice. Here's a real example. A frequent cruiser and small-time travel vlogger once posted several glowing Royal Caribbean reviews on YouTube. On her next sailing, she was greeted by name at check-in and upgraded to a junior suite. She hadn't requested anything. She was just on the list. Why it matters? This isn't about fame. It's about visibility and reputation. Cruise lines love loyal, positive voices who influence bookings, even small ones. Here's how to leverage it. Be active in cruise communities like Cruise Critic and Facebook groups. Tag the cruise line in your photos and feedback. After each sailing, send a short, thoughtful thank you note to guest services or corporate support. Over time, your name becomes associated with loyalty and positivity. And when that VIP algorithm runs before sailing, You might just land a room most passengers will never even know was available. So there you have it. 12 hidden cabin upgrades the cruise lines never advertise, but smart travelers quietly unlock every season. From inventory adjustments and bidding loopholes to loyalty bumps, price drops, and that mysterious VIP list, these aren't just rumors. They're the real strategies cruise veterans use to sail better, sleep better, and spend less. Here's the truth. Cruise lines reward awareness. If you know the language, the timing, and the right questions to ask, you'll start seeing opportunities everywhere. The kind of upgrades that make your next sailing feel first class without spending another dollar. If even one of these insider tricks opened your eyes today, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a new cruise secret before your next trip.